Welcome back to CityLine. With me right now, I have Kurt Bailey. He is the CEO of Bloodworks Northwest. Welcome, Kurt.
Thank you, Amanda. It's wonderful to be with you today.
It's great to have you back. So much has changed since you and I talked. This world doesn't look like it looked, 2 months ago. So I want to jump right in and I want to talk about what is the current state of local blood supply in light of Governor Inslee's announcement yesterday, Monday, May 18th, that all surgeries, elective and mandatory, it's game on. So where does that leave us right now with our blood bank and our blood supply?
Well, as you say, Amanda, it is game on now. And over the coming weeks and months, what we expect to see is a lot of elective procedures, surgeries, cancer treatments, and other deferred treatments that require blood. And we're going to see a lot more of those because there's been lots of patients that, just couldn't get care during the early part of COVID-19, but they need it. They need to come in and get treated. So blood use is going to go up, and it's going to go up fast and steeply. So that means we have to collect a lot more blood to make sure that all these friends and neighbors and family members that we love get the blood they need. So it's game on, as you said, for a big ramp up.
So let's talk about that because the environment in which blood collection happened before COVID-19 matched our world in our dynamics. It was the blood mobile pulled up, all of the employees came running out, we all got in, got our juice, got our cookies, got our little sticker sometimes, and then we went back to work. And blood collection was a corporate and also a interest group, and it was something that we all did. Now COVID-19 comes in, and that no longer is how we play the game. So tell us what has changed.
Well, maybe I'll start with what hasn't changed, and that is the community needs to donate blood so that the community can receive the care that requires blood. So it's still something that we all need to do. That's no different than ever. But a lot of the ways in which we collect blood are really different now. And 60%, so more than half, 60% of our blood used to be through a blood bus or some other blood drive at an employer or at a church or a city hall. And we can't do any of those any longer, at least not for the foreseeable future, because we can't ensure social distancing and really clean, safe spaces. Not on a blood bus. People are too close together. We got to be further apart. So what we did is we have moved our operations to our existing donor centers. We have a dozen of them in Washington and Seattle. But the innovative thing is we're creating temporary donor centers, and we call them pop-ups. And it was really fun and coincidental that our first pop-up is at T-Mobile Park, where of course the Mariners play. Then there's great pun there, pop-up. And that's been running for weeks. It's in sort of the Diamond Club level where, I don't usually get to go, but you can go if you give blood. And the Mariners and T-Mobile Park have been so generous. And it's through those, and we have more than 15 now established, where we can maintain social distance between our donors and our staff. We don't have to set them up every day. They stay established. They run for multiple days or weeks or months at a time. And it's much easier to keep them really, really clean. And so it's a very safe place for everybody who's there. Well, that's where folks now can go to give blood, to our pop-up centers up and down the I-5 corridor. Well, that's one thing that's really different, and it's working great. The other thing is you can't just walk in anymore. If you happen to want to give blood today, well, you might not be able to give blood today. You need an appointment. And the reason is if we have walk-ins, we have too many people at once, and we got to keep people separate. So we got to have appointments only. So the key for us is everybody make an appointment and keep your appointment and now realize that we're game on, ramping up blood collection, and you might need to make an appointment for 2, 3, 4 weeks from now. But that's really helpful because that's when we're going to need it. It's different, like you say. Used to be, hey, come get blood right now, we're short. What we're really saying now is make an appointment so we're not short next month. And that's just a really different message for everybody. And I hope the community will turn out, make that appointment, and keep that appointment.
Absolutely. So I want to address the people who are watching this and there are those out there that are still terrified about giving blood. Yes. They just don't know how it works. They're afraid of the pain. So Kurt, can you just walk us through the procedure here so we can educate people that this really is a walk through the ballpark? Ha!
Nice. Well, it is a walk in the ballpark. And one of the reasons why is this little device right here, where when you come in now to our donor centers, we ask you to check in online, kind of like you're going to make your flight at the airport. So do your check-in on your device online before you arrive. That shortens your time in our donor center, streamlines the registration process, gets you right through. So then what happens after you're in our center, you've registered online, they'll check your vital signs, of course, and there'll be a little finger stick to make sure that your blood's looking good to donate that day, and then you'll be ready to donate. Needless to say, Amanda, only people who are feeling good, that no symptoms should come into our donor centers. We of course check temperatures, but it's a very, very safe and healthy space. So then you're ready to go donate, and we've got the chairs set up, lots of space between them, and you'll notice that our staff wear masks or face shields, and of course they're gloved up. And we're going to ask donors to do the same, and we're going to provide those masks if we can. But we're just going to ask that everybody in our centers have a mask on. It's just safer. So then you're in the chair, you're ready to donate, and the technician, the phlebotomist, and our techs are fantastic. They'll put the needle in, and the donation takes, for most people, around 8 minutes or so if it's a whole blood donation. Needles are worrisome for folks. Some people are kind of worried about it. I have to admit, the other day, I honestly stubbed my toe, and I stubbed my pinky toe. You know what that feels like? Yeah, exactly. I would rather have a needle than a pinky toe stub. So I think a toe stub is worse, seriously. So that's the kind of discomfort we're talking about. It's not worse than stubbing your toe. And then you donate your whole blood, as I mentioned, if that's what you do, or maybe you donate platelets, and we can talk about that. That's a really fascinating and important part of your blood. And once you're done with the donation, you get brought in or just walked over to a little area where we've got the cookies and some snacks and something to get you hydrated, and you can sit down and take a break. And you meet cool people in a donor center, I'll tell you. When I visit, I often will sit in what we call the canteen area where the snacks are, and I'll just chat with folks if they're willing to chat. And they tell you, Amanda, the most interesting things about why they're there and what they're doing during COVID-19, for example. I mean, they're really fascinating people, and it's super fun. Wait there for 10 or 15 minutes, and then you're out the door and on your way. It's pretty simple.
It absolutely is. So I want to check in with your Bloodworks Northwest family. How are your people doing? How are those amazing phlebotomists holding up?
They really are fantastic. And they have, they've worked hard over the last 3 months. From the beginning of early March, when we were really worried about the blood supply, and we wanted to stockpile blood because we just didn't know what was going to happen. We wanted to make sure we had plenty. And the phlebotomists are the ones that ensured we could do that. They worked long hours, and they worked in remember that early days of COVID-19 where you really weren't sure what was going on? It was very uncomfortable. Our policies have changed as a society, as a state, around how we social distance and cleaning and masking. And our phlebotomists lived right through that with the public, and they did amazing work throughout. So they're doing wonderfully. And what we hear from our donors is that they love our phlebotomists. So our staff's doing well. And our staff's healthy. We were super strict about implementing guidelines to keep staff separate. If anyone wasn't feeling well, they were self-quarantined. Anyone that came in contact was asked to stay home. And we have no quarantines now. Everybody is healthy and well, and it really has worked wonderfully.
That is such good news. So in this last 2.5 minutes, I want you to get out your crystal ball, and we're going to do a little glimpse into the future here. What will the blood supply be like in, let's say, a year from now, and then 5 years from now?
Well, it's fascinating. The blood supply is changing right now. And the most obvious change is with our convalescent plasma program. So convalescent plasma is donated by a person who had COVID-19 and they're fully recovered 28 days since their last symptom. And that plasma can be transfused into a patient that's fighting COVID-19 right now. And it's experimental. There's not clear scientific evidence that this helps, but there's good experience with other viruses in the past, and there's a very sound theory behind it of how the antibodies, those things that help fight off infection in that plasma, can be helpful to patients who are infected and fighting for their lives now. So we're collecting that plasma every day. We collect it principally right now in downtown Seattle at our donor center on Terry Avenue. And that plasma is being shipped out and transfused into patients every single day. So that's becoming a really important part of our blood collection effort. And depending on whether or not we have a resurgence in the fall, we want to make sure that we've got plenty of that plasma available for those patients who need it. Now, the other part of that program is elements of the plasma can be extracted and used in a therapy or in a cure, we hope. And so we are also providing plasma to US government labs for conversion into an experimental treatment. And that will be part of a clinical study with over 1,000 participants as soon as they have enough of that available and they can manufacture it. And we're providing that source plasma to the National Institute of Health so they can produce that product. And we're really hopeful that it'll help save lives. So that's a big change right away, which is pretty exciting to be part of. And the Pacific Northwest has been a leader in this regard, which is pretty cool.
That is amazing to think that the plasma that I have and that I give can be a part of down the road, long-term, finding a cure. So again, blood connects us all. I want to thank you so very much for taking time out of your busy day and for explaining something that can be so scary and is something that maybe we don't want to think about right now amidst all of the pandemic worries we have. Mm-hmm. But giving blood is giving hope. So Kurt Bailey, you have a permanent seat in my kitchen and back on the comfy couch should that day arrive. And please take care of you and your precious family.
Thank you, Amanda. It's been just a pleasure, and all the best to you and yours.
Thank you so much. We have much more to come on CityLine, so don't go away. We'll be right back.